catalog took a definitely countercultural relationship to technology, and we went out of our way to not only become smart about technology, but to take over the control of it and invent our own.
Stuart Brand came to me because he had heard that I read catalogs. He said, I want to make this a thing called the Whole Earth Catalog so that anyone on Earth can pick up a telephone and find out the complete information on anything. He said, that's my goal. That if people have good information, they will do the right thing.
Jay Baldwin is an author, teacher, machinist, and technological fence tester. As an editor of the Whole Earth Catalog, he has been in the information center of a 25-year-long design revolution. Living and working out of an Airstream trailer, pulled by a truck he calls his universal toolbox, Jay crisscrosses the country, assisting in the realization of experiments on the ecological frontier.
When Fuller remarked that good hardware was one of the few irrefutable proofs of clear thinking, I took that to heart. It's an old adage, actually, that tools are extensions of your body, and like pliers are just very strong fingers, and a hammer is just a very hard fist. But I found that a whole group of tools is an extension of your mind, and then it enables you to bring your ideas into physical form. And actually what you're doing is you're adding so much energy to the idea that other people can see it. Proof of concept work is what gets done in here. I call this place a three-dimensional sketch pad. You find that not very many people are living their life the way you're living. And I look around me and I see very few people my age especially are living the kind of life that I'm living. But I regard my life as an experiment, and it's an experiment that has not, the result has not always been wonderful, but I certainly wouldn't say that anything is unsuccessful because you always learn from it. After you discover what sort of human being is being tried with your particular genetic makeup, then you should drive that just as far as you can to see what it's good for. And I think that's your responsibility. And I think also that it is the responsibility of designers, people acting as designers, to carry out their ideas all the way to the point of living in them, so that you don't go home at 5 o'clock, that you live in what you're doing, which is kind of an ultimate proof. You don't hire somebody else to do your living for you. It's not a simulation, that you're actually doing the deed yourself. So you become the world's expert on whatever it is you're doing, and you look around you and you can say, there's really not anybody I can ask for advice. Then you know you're doing okay.
Ecological design and ecological engineering is about as radical a discipline as you can get. Because what it says at the very outset is that human beings are going to be partners with other life forms.
To achieve a world of true partnership with nature, biochemist John Todd's rule of thumb is replace, wherever possible, machines with resilient living systems.
It's possible, using ecological engineering, to create living machines that will generate the fuels we need in the future, that will transform our waste, to culture our foods, that will regulate our climates, and which will integrate our buildings with the larger world. So what is a living machine? How is it designed? What's it look like? It has engineering components, it has materials components, and it has living components. And they all are completely integrated.
In a living machine, the waste of one biological community becomes the food of the next. This living machine at Providence, Rhode Island, purifies the wastewater of 150 families without the use of toxic chemicals or of conventional machinery. The chain of linked ecosystems progressively consumes the toxins in the sewage until the water is 5 times cleaner than by conventional means. As on Earth, it is the rich diversity of life which ensures the health and resiliency of the system.
And one of the things that we find about designing these systems is that we can't know a fraction of what they know. That's why I call it a true partnership. I mean, they know more than we do. Say the organisms for waste treatment. When you set up the living machine, you don't know which organisms will recombine in the presence of the waste. So you get thousands of species of organisms from all kinds of different aquatic environments, and you seed them, preferably every season or 4 times a year, and they begin to recombine in ways to adapt to your waste. It can be as deadly as hell. They'll figure it out. You can't. But you must honor the system by making sure the cast of characters is there. So the design process is one that is in part taken place in the wild and brought into this new domestic, if you will, environment. The other aspect of all of this is the materials. 90% of our thinking is what I call gossamer engineering. And this is the kind of thing that Bucky thought a lot about. Membranes, intelligent membranes. And by intelligent, I mean able to change their properties so that they are one state when the internal state inside the machine is one way, and they're another state when the external is the other way. And one of the beautiful things about using ecology as a model is this concept of balance, this concept of all kinds of strange things that technologists don't think about. Pulses, day and night, season, cold, warm. How do you design all these things in so that they dance with each other?
In 1982, John Todd collaborated with Jay Baldwin in the construction of a living machine within a geodesic pillow dome. With his biological approach, John Todd had achieved Buckminster Fuller's dream, a self-sufficient shelter, a house with its own metabolism.
When Bucky opened it, it was quite an experience because here was this tiny little structure. It was only 30 feet in diameter. And he completely understood what we were doing. That it was heating and cooling itself, that it was providing sustenance, that it was providing this deeply almost spiritual feeling it had. And Bucky walked into it, and as you know, it was very close to the end of his life. And he said, "This is a dream of mine fulfilled. This is the stuff of my dream stuff fulfilled. The integration of nature and architecture, the missing link